Today, we're looking closely at 5 well-known tea companies across Europe that a lot of households rely on every day. Most people pick up their usual box at the shop without a second thought, assuming it's the same comforting drink their family has been making for years. What many don't realize is that the modern tea bag has gone through quiet changes that prioritize appearance and speed over the natural qualities tea used to have. For generations, tea has been more than a warm drink. It has been part of daily life, a pause in the middle of a busy afternoon, and a tradition passed from one home to another. Older generations brewed tea slowly with loose leaves, clean water, and thyme. You could see the leaves open, smell the aroma filling the room, and taste a flavor that developed slowly rather than being forced out by heat and fine particles. Somewhere along the line, that slower ritual was replaced with something more mechanical. Many modern tea bags are packed with extremely tiny leaf fragments, sometimes almost powder, that produce color fast but don't give the same depth of flavor. The materials used in the bags themselves have changed as well. A lot of them interact with boiling water long before the tea releases its best notes. Companies know that if most drinkers understood how simple and enjoyable traditional brewing still is, they might not continue buying heavily processed supermarket blends. That's why fast brewing, surface appearance, and clean-looking packaging have become part of the selling point. The industry leans on presentation, uniform color, and convenience. All of this sounds harmless on the surface, but it shifts the focus away from the actual quality inside the bag. So, while we're not claiming every brand is problematic, it's worth paying attention to what we're actually drinking, rather than the romantic stories printed on each box. Brand 1. Royal Oak Tea. This company presents itself as refined and traditional, but the bright white tea bags they sell don't naturally look that way. The paper goes through an oxygen bleaching process designed purely to give the bag a cleaner, almost sterile look. Although this isn't chlorine bleaching, it's still a whitening step added only for appearance, not taste. The company knows most customers don't ask how their bag becomes so white. They just assume white equals pure. Inside those bags, you won't find full, leafy pieces. You'll find extremely fine fragments that brew fast and give color quickly. This saves time for people in a rush, but sacrifices aroma and the gentle layers of flavor loose tea once offered. Older generations bought loose leaves by weight and stored them in proper tins. Brewing meant warming a pot, letting the leaves open, and then straining. Royal Oak's process today is designed for mass production and speed, not the slow flavor development their marketing hints at. Brand 2. Green Valley Tips. For years, this brand built its reputation on producing a strong, familiar cup that many households relied on. Recently, they switched their bag material to a plant-based option, which sounds environmentally friendly. The problem is that these new bags don't break down in normal home compost. They require industrial composting facilities most people don't have access to. In everyday life, that means the bags behave almost the same as older versions. Alongside the packaging shift, drinkers have reported noticeable changes in taste. Many say their tea feels weaker or oddly flat, even when they brew it the same way they always have. That lines up with how Green Valley designs its blends. They rely heavily on what the industry calls dust, tiny leaf particles that release strong color right away but don't offer much depth. Over time, small adjustments to blends and bag design have made the tea predictable rather than naturally full-bodied. Brand 3. Market choice every day. A lot of people bought this supermarket brand because it was affordable and dependable. Recently, that dependable reputation has been slipping. Many customers have reported the bags splitting as soon as hot water hits them. Some say they have to throw away several bags just to successfully brew one cup. When a bag bursts, the powder spills into the water and turns the drink cloudy and gritty. Some reviewers describe cups with a muddy layer settled at the bottom, making the last few sips unpleasant. Others say the flavor seems inconsistent, sometimes so weak they need 2 bags, sometimes strangely bitter or rubbery. The worrying part is that when a bag falls apart, you end up swallowing particles that were never meant to be consumed directly. A lot of shoppers originally switched from more expensive brands to save money, but are now returning because the cheaper option simply isn't reliable anymore. Brand 4. Harbor Leaf Co. This brand promotes itself as simple and traditional. But a closer look reveals that the bags still contain a small amount of plastic in the heat-sealed edge that keeps them together. It sounds like a tiny detail, just a small fraction of the overall bag, but when you consider how many cups of tea are brewed every day across Europe, that small fraction becomes significant. Each bag is steeped in boiling water, and those conditions can affect what enters the drink. As for what's inside the bag, Harbor Leaf relies heavily on small, processed pieces of tea rather than whole leaves. The blends come from large agricultural operations spread across several regions. Leaves are shipped long distances, stored, blended, and reblended to ensure every box tastes exactly the same. That kind of consistency is only possible when flavor becomes a controlled, predictable formula, rather than something naturally rich and varied. Brand 5. North Shore Brew. This company has an extremely loyal following. People travel with their preferred box, insist it is the only proper tea, and defend it passionately. The branding plays heavily into heritage, tradition, and the idea that this is the proper cup your grandparents would approve of. In reality, many North Shore bags still use older sealing materials that contain plastic elements. When you pour boiling water over them, microscopic particles can release into the drink. On top of that, the tea leaves come from large international plantations rather than any specific local region. The strong flavor some people love often comes from an increased amount of tiny particles rather than especially high-quality leaves. Their special product lines make this even clearer. Some flavored varieties taste like biscuits or sweets without containing real ingredients behind the flavor. Others are designed specifically for hard water areas by using darker and dustier blends that overpower minerals instead of working with the water naturally. So while the box may show scenic countryside and make nostalgic promises, the tea itself is a modern industrial blend that has more in common with every other mass-market product than the traditional image suggests.